Hey everyone, Frosty here. Today we're diving into the best primary weapons in Helldivers 2 against Terminids on the Polar Patch Edition. The gun rankings will start from 5, which is worst of the best, to 1, best of the best. And this ranking is based off of a few criteria from my own experience. First is the usability. So how does it feel when using it? Next is the synergy with loadout. So how many stratagems are you having to build around this weapon to make it effective, or for better, how little stratagems to make this weapon effective? And lastly, the consistency with outputting damage. So if it's a slow weapon, is it worth the wait? Or if it's fast, can it put down enough damage? Before we begin, I always like to mention that this ranking is based on my opinion. I don't expect everyone to agree with me, or if any of y'all. However, I'd love to hear your rankings in the comments below. With that being said, if you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And guys, I just want to say thank you so much for the support that you guys are giving me. This channel is growing. So again, we're getting close to that number 500, and then the next stop will be 1,000 subs. Again, guys, thank y'all so much. With that being said, let's dive into the top 5 weapons in Helldivers 2 against Terminids, Polar Patch Edition. Starting off with our number 5 ranking is the Eruptor. The Eruptor is a versatile sniper that recently got nerfed from 12 magazines to 6 magazines, and not a lot of people were happy about that. To be completely honest with you, it wasn't too bad of a nerf. The biggest thing was the whole shrapnel ordeal where they took it away. I think one of the biggest reasons for it was it could kill you from self-deflection or of some sort. I remember using this weapon, I would just die randomly from deflection, but also the inconsistencies with it. But I think the more inconsistent part of the factor was it was actually really good because of the shrapnel damage. And if it was still the same Eruptor that came out, even let's just say with the 6 magazines, this weapon would rank completely higher because this thing was disgusting when using. However, with those nerfs coming into the weapon, I kind of now see it more as a glorified grenade pistol. It still remains a strong contender in my top 5. So with its explosive power, it requires precise positioning to avoid reflection damage, because it is kind of annoying whenever you shoot and an enemy's close, especially like a medium armor, whenever you're trying to take care of the medium armor Terminids, and then you just kind of jolt backwards and now you're staggered, which is really annoying. But that comes down to more of a skill issue, timing and positioning, which is obviously fixable. But for my playstyle, when I get overran and I'm having to either use the Redeemer with this weapon or maybe like even a Stalwart to kind of help me get out of the situation, it does kind of get annoying. So there is a steep learning curve compared to the other weapons in the top 5 with this weapon. And I think also has something to do with the nerfs as well. But let's kind of talk about a little bit of the facts of this weapon. So the damage output is 380. It is a medium armor penetrating weapon that is classified as explosive. The ammo capacity for the 6 magazines that you get spare is 5. So technically you get 6 plus 1 here. I would say the biggest thing, and again, repeating myself here, is it requires a faster RPM or rate per minute secondary to really back this weapon up, and or support weapons like the Stalwart, or you can pair it with the flamethrower. If you really want to do an arc thrower, you need something to kind of mitigate the slow fire rate, even though the damage is at 380. However, it still does pack a punch. So to conclude here at our rank number 5 spot, the Eruptor, it definitely needs a bit of a buff to get a little bit higher on my list, but nonetheless, it's still better than the other guns that didn't make the top 5. Next up is our number 4 rank, the Arc 12 Blitzer. Truly stands out as an unlimited ammo weapon. It has a wider arc when hip firing and a smaller arc when aiming down sight. This weapon also bypasses medium armor and can stun foes. The downside is its inconsistency in hitting targets, which can be a challenge in high pressure situations. But when it works, it's incredibly satisfying. Loadouts may include more anti-tank features, as this primary does very well with clearing chaff. Also, with its infinite ammo capacity with no chance of overheating, it's really good. But again, that inconsistency kind of knocks it down. Now, I want to throw in some additional facts pulled from the Helldivers 2 wiki, which, by the way, all the wiki facts that I'll be doing throughout this video will be linked down below, so you guys can see where I'm pulling these from. So it excels at clearing hordes of enemies and taking down medium armor threats up close. Damage is at 250. Ammo capacity is infinite. Bolts do not jump between targets, unlike the Tesla Tower and Arc Thrower, and most effective against enemies within 30 meters. And because of that, that's why I have this at rank number 4. Moving on to our number 3 rank is the Sickle 16, which does boast its unlimited ammo potential. You just can't overheat it, or it just becomes limited ammo. But if you get it right, it's unlimited. So we'll just say it's unlimited. So it does offer a fantastic assault rifle style of gameplay that I thoroughly enjoy. It's excellent for light armor penetration, but struggles a bit with medium armor foes as they can be a bit of a damage sponge when utilizing the sickle. It can also be less effective on hotter planets, affecting its rate of heat speed, but on polar planets, let me tell you, this slight buff due to the rate of heat being reduced is quite nice. Next up would be the loadouts. They may include anti-tank and or AoE depending on what the team needs, which makes this weapon extremely versatile. Now, I wanted to come back to the whole polar and heat maps that we do play on. So additionally, environmental factors may impact whether or not you may want to choose this weapon. As like all weapons with the heat trait, the intense heat environmental conditions will increase the rate at which the weapon heats, while extreme cold will decrease it. The intense heat will then decrease the time needed to overheat by 0.5 seconds, while the extreme cold will increase the time by 0.5 seconds for a total of 6.5 and 7.5 seconds respectively. Additional facts here that we have for the sickle is the damage output is 55, has very low recoil, 750 rounds per minute, 3 spare clips, and can be infinite info. And again, reminder, that is from the wiki, so check down below for the Sickle 16 wiki. And that is why the Sickle 16 is on my number 3 spot. Coming in at rank number 2, this was kind of hard for me to decide, but at the end of the day, it started making sense when I really sat there and thought about it, and my playstyles is the Dominator. So rank number 2 is the Dominator, and it excels within some versatility and damage output. Especially against bile spears and nursing spears where you have to just shoot it twice or 3 times in the head. Man, do I love those. Those are like my arch nemesis. And also annihilate stalkers, by the way. So it quickly eliminates medium armor enemies, but can struggle with dealing with chaff. So pairing it with a Redeemer or grenade pistol alongside with a chaff clear support weapon or stratagem, just like we saw in our stalwart primary that we like to use with this, or you could even run it with the flamethrower, but we'll say for this sake, the stalwart. But it's not limited to it, but overall, it's a great combo. It's a reliable choice for various combat situations, and loadouts can include anti-tank. But the problem is, and as some of you guys even commented, right, when you're juggling between these support strategies with anti-tank and then also a chaff clear, like let's just use the stalwart, you can lose that in the heat of battle. So that can be kind of rough. However, the Dominator alone being able to do very well against the medium armors and still having the versatility is very, very good. So the loadout potentials are quite various, which increases effectiveness in multiple Helldives scenarios, especially when playing in our public lobbies. Some facts for y'all is the damage output of the Dominator is 275 meteor armor penetrating. The ammo capacity is at 15 with the spare magazines of 6. Also, I've just now realized this. The Dominator rounds are concussive, so excuse my ignorance as I was labeling this as an explosive weapon. I believe that's what it's in game wise, but on the wiki it's stating that it is a concussive. So with that concussive, the round will stun and interrupt any special interactions that is occurring from the enemy. And because of that, because of the versatility, this is why the Dominator is ranked 2 on my list. Last but not least, scoring rank number 1 on my top 5 primaries against Terminid has to be the Incendiary Breaker on the Polar Patch Edition. It is arguably the best against Terminids overall. It has a decent magazine and ammo capacity. It kills Terminids, chaff very quickly, can handle the medium armor, unlike the sickle where it's a damage spun. The Incendiary Breaker just annihilates them a bit quicker. It also has the fire AoE or the damage over time effect, and is particularly useful for also dealing with chaff, making it a strong all-arounder. Loadouts are extremely various as you can run anti-tank, AoE loadouts, or a bit of both. This gun allows for that versatility with playing against Terminids, which is a great thing on every Helldive mission, since every Helldive mission can be different and also based on skill with your public lobbies or even your friends that you're playing with. So here's a bit of fun facts of the weapon. It has 240 damage, is light armor penetrating, incendiary, low recoil, 300 rounds per minute. It has a burst or semi-automatic selection. I do tend to leave it on burst. The ammo capacity for this weapon is 25, and you do get 7 spare magazines, which is quite a lot. And by the time you even go through that, you're more than likely already resupplying. Just in conclusion, this is why the Incendiary Breaker is on my top 1 for the Polar Patch Edition against Terminids. Before we end, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. My primary goal was to share my top 5 primary weapons against the Terminids within the Polar Patch Edition. On top of that, I want this to be an opportunity for y'all to share in the comments down below what your rankings might be. I definitely do not expect our rankings to be aligned and would love to see why that may be. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe, as that does help the channel grow and our community grow. You guys are absolutely killing it, so I want to say thank y'all so much for this opportunity. And with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next dive.